Welcome to Business Review, a daily program that delves into the latest and most significant economic stories, from stock markets to currency news. Business Review covers the most up-to-date developments in the global financial world.
The BGI Group, a leading Chinese genome sequencing company headquartered in Shenzhen, has set up a lab in the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region to help increase the city's testing capacity to 500,000 a day. The Hong Kong Special Administrative Region government announced on August 21st that it will launch the Universal Community Testing Program on September 1st to provide a one-off free testing service for the Special Administrative Region residents to identify as early as possible asymptomatic COVID-19 patients in the community and achieve the target of the early identification, early isolation and early treatment to cut the community transmission chain. Samples sent to the newly built lab will go through a three-step testing procedure to see whether they are negative or positive, according to Aldo Wong, manager of the BGI's genetic lab in Hong Kong. These samples will then be put into special machines for RNA extraction.
The high-tech centers of the U.S. Silicon Valley and China's Shenzhen Special Economic Zone have been working to develop innovative products. Headphone manufacturer Neura broke new ground by using sensitive microphones to measure how a user hears and personally shapes the music for the most detailed sound. Dragan Petrovic, co-founder and CEO of Neura, said the product will not exist without Silicon Valley. While the technology was developed in Australia, where the company is based, the two other places have also been integral to its success. The Chinese entrepreneur Jason Wang also utilized both Silicon Valley and Shenzhen ecosystems to his advantage to build the company MakeBlock, which creates products that help children learn science and technology. Their solutions are now in schools around the world. MakeBlock's new products include M-Tiny, an early education robot which introduces kids to coding at an early age. MakeBlock sells products in more than 140 countries with more than 15 million users. It's now headquarters in Shenzhen in China, where it has its own manufacturing facilities.
When Thailand closed off its borders and went into full lockdown, Edwin Week, the founder of a renowned wild animal sanctuary in central Thailand, feared the worst. After months of lockdown, the sanctuary's funding, which mainly coasted on tourists staying in its lodging, dried up, and along with it, an ample army of volunteers which would have mainly consisted of foreign tourists. Week, founder of Wildlife Friends Foundation Thailand, said that for the last 6 months they have got 0 visitors and lost about 75% of their income. Adding further stress, Week has taken in around 30 to 40 animals since the pandemic, mostly abandoned by keepers that can no longer provide. Thailand received a record 39.8 million tourists in 2019, but with borders closed, the country expects only 8 million this year. The economy could post the biggest contraction since 1998. The sanctuary, which has more than 800 animals and expenses of $4,000 per month, usually relies on volunteers but now has only one. Week said that pressure to take in more animals has strained standards of care and that the sanctuary only had funds to last 6 to 8 weeks.
Foreign joint ventures in Shenzhen, South China's Guangdong province, have proven the efficacy of the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area. Lufthansa Technik Shenzhen, a company established by Lufthansa Technik in Germany and China in Shenzhen in 2002, provides Chinese and Asia-Pacific Airlines with maintenance, repair and overhaul services. Benjamin Scheidel, CEO of the company, said the company's been growing fast together with the aviation industry, adding there are about 250 aircraft in China when the company started in 2002, and now about 4,000, with China soon to become the biggest aviation market. There is a lot of young talent at the company, starting with 50 employees and now the company employs 680, with 70% younger than 35 years old. The company said it's happy that it can attract so many students and talents to a company where employees can feel the combination of Chinese and German cultures.
Profits of China's major industrial enterprises totaled 589.5 billion yuan in July, up 19.6% year-on-year, according to data released by the National Bureau of Statistics on Thursday. In the first 7 months, the profits of China's major industrial enterprises dropped 8.1% year-on-year to 3.1 trillion yuan, with the rate narrowing by 4.7 percentage points from that for the first 6 months. Profits of state-owned industrial enterprises of the major firms dropped 23.5% to 783.8 billion yuan in the first 7 months from 1 year earlier, while those of private ones dropped 5.3% to 888.34 billion yuan in the same period. In the first 7 months, profits of the mining industry declined 41.6% year-on-year, while those for the manufacturing industry dropped 4.5%. According to the NBS, profits at 29 of the 49 industrial sectors surveyed declined compared with 1 year earlier, while 12 sectors saw their profits increase in the first 7 months. The revenue of major industrial enterprises amounted to 55.06 trillion yuan, down 3.9% year-on-year, and their operating costs decreased 3.6% to 46.49 trillion yuan during the period. By the end of July, assets of the major industrial enterprises rose 6.6% year-on-year to 120.89 trillion yuan, while liabilities expanded 6.5% to 68.50 trillion yuan. The share of liabilities to assets stood at 56.7%, the same as that of a year earlier.
Chinese electric vehicle EV maker Xpeng said on Thursday it has increased the size of its U.S. initial public offering by more than a third to about $1.5 billion as investors race to companies promoting cleaner technology. The automaker has its offices in Silicon Valley and San Diego, and in a filing sold its 99.7 million shares for $50 each, raising about $1.5 billion. The automaker had originally planned to sell 85 million shares with a price guidance of between $11 and $13. Shares of Xpeng also began trading on Thursday on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol XPEV. Xpeng has 2 electric vehicles on the market, the G3 SUV and the P7 sedan. Production began of the G3 in November 2018, and as of July the 31st, the company delivered 18,741 vehicles to customers. Deliveries of the P7 began in May 2020. The company has delivered 1,966 of those sedans as of July the 31st, and the company is also planning a third electric vehicle, which will be another sedan that will come into the market in 2021.
This has been Business Review, your daily source for the most critical financial stories. Tune in next time for the latest financial news impacting the world economy.